ever brought your magic to Walt Disney World like, hey, we came to play? Did you tip your tiara to a Creole princess or get goofy officially? Step up like a boss and save the day? Or see what life's like under the tree of life? Did you? If you could. Would you? When we come through, it's true magic. 'Cause we came to play. Bring the magic at Walt Disney World Resort.
Rack your look for spring at Nordstrom Rack and save up to 60% on brands you love. Rag & Bone, Vince, Marc Jacobs, Adidas, Joe's, and more. Great brands, great prices every day at Nordstrom Rack. Score new dresses, denim, sandals, designer bags, and sunglasses, plus updates for the family and home. Get your spring on for less, up to 60% less, today at your Nordstrom Rack store. What will you find?
OG.
Make some noise!
My next guest has been doing this for over 20 years. He's one half of the group SmifNWessun. They're about to release their 7th album. First album was The Shinin. They also did Monumental with P-Rock. General Steele, welcome back to the Library with Tim Heinekel.
Peace. Yo, it's good to be here, man. Good to see you.
Thank you. You too, man. You too, as always. So The Shinin came out 1993. You're about to release your 7th album. 15 years later, if I do the math correctly. No.
The Shinin came out 9/5. The single came out 9/4. The album was released 9/5. We made our appearance on Blackmoons in 9/2, 9/3, something like that. But yeah.
How has, from the first album to now, how has the kind of the purpose of the album changed for you? How has it stayed the same?
Well, I got 2 kids in college right now.
Holy crap.
so I'm like Ghostface, waiting on these royalties, take too long. It's like waiting on baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I need everything to work. I have to, my responsibility has definitely shifted. Mm-hmm. But when we came into the game, we was always like pretty responsible youths, and we learned from watching Blackmoons as they entered the stage. After all the ups and downs and rocky parts, you still have love for it. You still realize that you have a passion for it, and you want to handle it. Like hip hop is that kid that grew up, and you got to send him to college. So you want to take care of it. I love it, and I love it still. I'm glad I can still say that.
How do you approach? Talk about the purpose of the album, but how do you approach the album and the song? I mean, as you've grown older, is it the same kind of approach for you? Do you still have the same place you write at, or?
I think when we did The Shinin, it was. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the same, because we was in a real different place at that time. We was living basically on the streets in between homes and stuff like that, and we was a little bit crazy and loose out there, but we still have family members. A lot of our family was still around. Evil D and Mr. Walt took us into their basement before we made it to the studio to record the first joints. We wrote it sitting at Evil D and Walt's table in their basement apartment. God bless Mama Dugard. She used to come downstairs and check on us. Little sis used to come down and check on us. The cat used to come down and check on us. So it was a family vibe. We was right in Bucktown around family. We was in the kitchen right in Bucktown. Let's get it on. These was Nothing to Move But the Money. These songs was written in this place. Wow. And you couldn't smoke in here, so we had to go across the street in the park. And then come back in. We still got our vices, but and they didn't trip on us about doing what we was doing as long as we can come in and perform. And when we did this last project with Ninth and the Soul Council, it was similar because they invited us into their space. I mean, this time their space was a studio. It looks like the Millennium Falcon because it's just places where people are in every room making beats. You know what I mean? And it's no competition, but everybody is in there pounding them out, and and then you have the living room area. It's a beautiful space to create, and I think it gave us an open window to just write our rhymes, and there was no constructions, no constrictions, no restrictions. And initially, I honestly, I was afraid. I didn't know how he was going to approach it. I didn't know what was going to be the first song. I didn't know how he was going to, what to talk about. Right. And it just started to come. It just started to really awaken.
Do you remember that first kind of moment or lyric that you might have started to write down that had everything click, or even maybe Tech wrote it down, but it was, do you remember that moment?
I tried to cheat, something I definitely don't do. I had like 6 verses that I had wrote to some other stuff that I was like, we're probably not going to use this, so I'm going to try one of these. And it's like, it's like you got to get the burp or you got to fluctuate. I had to get that out. Yeah. And that's one of the songs that didn't make the cut, by the way. So it's like, after you get that out, you start listening to all these different beats. That's the first process. Like you listening to tracks and, you trying to find a vibe. And then I don't know, I think I got an epiphany from Sean Price or something, man. It's like, yo, you just gotta make the first rap very exciting,
right?
Just go for it. And we wake up in the morning, we'll go get breakfast, we'll sit and eat breakfast with Crisis in the morning at the Flying Biscuit, and it's really really family vibe, really I won't say relaxing, but it's comforting because when you get to the studio, it's all about the work time. Right. Of course you got you get that big gallon of Hennessy and whatever you like, water, people. But, that's me.
Right.
So my process hasn't really shifted. It's just now you have a lot of information. You got to be in tune with where the energy is going, the track, what is the track telling you at the time, and just work it out and hope it comes out great.
When you're writing for the Shinin and you're in Evil D's, mother's basement, did you know, or when did you know that this was going to be not just your the hip hop being your life, but this is going to be your career? Or were you just thinking one album and see what happens?
That's I don't know if that's the Brooklynite in me or just the Sagittarius in me. Or just the anal cat. But before we actually started working with these guys, I had a really good job in Coney Island Hospital, benefits and everything, and I wasn't happy there, and I knew that I wasn't going to be there long. They was going to either fire me or I was just going to just flop out probably. Right. So when I saw the opportunity, I said, well, I didn't think it was going to be easy, and I didn't think it was going to, be life-changing, like in the realm of all right, overnight success, anything like that. But I was willing to take that chance, So I said, hey, it's either now or never. I got advised by people like Drew High, like, yo, don't quit your day job. Right. I'm like, man, I got to, man. I got to leave here. If I don't make the choice now, then no telling when, I have this opportunity. So it's full steam ahead.
I want to jump, ahead. You guys were recently on NPRs Tiny Desk Concert.
Yes. Big up Abby O'Neill. It's my baby.
Incredible performance.
Good job, yeah. And Black Alley, these guys.
And one thing that's incredible about it is that it's all, you're spitting over all live instruments.
Yes.
What's the major difference for you in terms of when you're spitting over a live instrument versus spitting over a DJ or 808s?
Oh man, it does something to the soul, man. It allows you to hear yourself as an instrument. A lot of times when you're doing it to the conventional shows and it's just the DJ, it's like it's I guess it's kind of rigid sometimes. When you're listening to the live music, it's a little more open. and you hearing notes that you normally don't hear when you're listening to like sample tracks and stuff like that. So it takes you on a journey, man. It's a whole different kind of high, you know.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite kind of instrument to spit over, or a favorite sound you like that kind of?
I don't think I do. I don't think I do. Like we went on tour with a group called Champion Sound. They're from primarily from Czechoslovakia, and we actually set to go out with them this winter as well, this fall. And these guys, it's like three guys, man. It's a drum, it's a bass player who formerly was just a guitar player, but they lost their bass player, and he had to pick up the bass. And he sounds good to me.
Right, yeah.
Not to mention that these guys, they're not like, one of them doesn't really speak English. Mm-hmm. Then there's the, I guess, the main conductor, which he plays the flute. He's on he's DJing, and so it's like I can't remember performing Stand Strong, you know, with the Isaac Hayes horns in it. And then it's a guy behind me who plays the horns from that. So it just blows my mind. You know, it's exciting, and it takes you on a journey. It's good. It's beautiful. You know.
You and Tech have been doing this for a while, and you both have done solo stuff. You both have worked with other artists, but there's always something about, to me, a track with you two on it that kind of brings out the best in each other.
Yeah.
What is it that brings out the best in each other? Like what
it's
what
the
is
love,
Tech
man. It's the love, man. I love working with that guy, man. Plus he does half the work, so it's like how could you not love that? You know, I don't got to do so much. You can carry that side, carry this side. But no, that's my brother, man. That's it's just organic with us. You know, we can talk, we can fuss, we can fight. He sees me do stuff he doesn't really like. He can talk to me about it. I see stuff. You know, it's not it's not a structured group. We're not the conventional group. We're actually relatives. We're actually family, you know. Not blood related, but it feels like it. And that's how we carry it. And I think that we both know the importance of getting the job done, you know. And when we have these producers like Beat Miners and Knife Wonder and Pete Rock, we know that we got to show up for work when we're dealing with these guys. It's a serious thing. And we focus. He's a very focused cat too. By the way, he don't play no games really. Unless we're in the studio, sometimes he might have a dice game going or something like that. But that's him. He draws it from somewhere else, you know. Yeah.
We've spoken a few times, you know, and I think one thing that always stands out, and you even said it now, just the importance of family and the people around you. I think the interview I had with Tech, I actually went down to Brooklyn, and it was in between his workouts. Right. You know, bidding like crazy in the park. But the cool thing about that, what I appreciated about that, and I left it being like, this is your neighborhood. What is it about your neighborhood that makes you who you are as an artist, and how do you keep drawing from it to continue to grow?
I mean, I would say your surroundings is the source. You know, that is your second tier family. Mm-hmm. You know, once you step outside, you have the neighborhood. If you know, like you all heard the saying, it takes a village. So I grew up in the projects. I lived on the 14th floor. So there were families on every floor that knew my family. And that was my first encounter with relationships, you know. And then after that, it's school.
Right.
So my school is maybe like 10, 12 blocks from my house. So in between those blocks, you encounter a lot of other stuff. So, you know, you start drawing on all of that, and you're able to, like, you know, it's scary. Sometimes it's scary, and it brands you. It'll put a stamp in you, and it'll make you tough, or it'll make you want to get up out of there, leave there. And I think we've always been able to walk through different neighborhoods. We've been daring enough or stupid enough to just traverse through some of the places, some of the most dangerous places in Brooklyn. And then the fraternities of school is where we meet people that's from different neighborhoods, and we actually still to this day go to these places. We still hang out in Crown Heights. We still be in Bushwick. We still even Harlem. You know, we Brooklynites to the heart, but we go to Harlem. Tex spends a lot of time at Juice Bar with Styles.
Right.
Queens, you know. We used to get our hair cut in Queens by Onyx when they had the shop out there. So it's like we really, you know, traveled the 5 boroughs, and I guess, and respectfully, not to go anybody's neighborhood, but it's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful canvas when you think about it, you know.
I want to get into the new album, but first, we talked about this prior to getting on, but Blackmoons' debut album, Enter the Stage, will turn 25 October 19th. That's where you guys also made your debut on the track. What does that album mean to you? But also, what does it mean for music? And also, what was the studio session like when you were creating?
The Black Moon album is, man, that's it is exactly what the title says. You know, it's entering the stage. It's like once you accept the fact that you're about to start something new, there's no turning back. Right. And that's how it felt when we was with these guys, and that's how it felt in the studio. Like everybody that was on that project, Evil D, Mr. Wall. Mr. Wall is a very influential. I mean, he's the backbone, and he's not in none of the photos. I guess he's an introvert in that way, but he has his history with studying music, working in I think he worked in Rock and Soul, one of these spots. But these guys always came to the table with what they had with high power information, and you know, Evil D is just an evil genius, who loves music. And the other 2 guys are just talented artists. So before we actually got our turn up to bat, we watched them. We watched them make their moves and build together and formulate how they was going to get things done, and patiently waited. Before that, I was a solo artist. I hadn't done anything as serious as what was going on. So I was all open. I was quiet. And I was receptive to it all, and it was a beautiful experience. It was like going through all of the tracks, you know. And as you've seen them form, you've seen the confidence grow, and then you witness the Jack the Rappers and the How Can I Be Downs. But all them rides was rough, you know. It was super rough, man, and it made us understand why we are at the boot camp. You know, and it was the cycle went, and I think that is important for hip hop to understand. Like hip hop goes 360 degrees. Like we give credit to those that's before us. We learn from these things. You know what I'm saying? So it's the honor of the art, the craft, you know, the culture.
You released the album in 95. You did one in 98, 2005, 2017, 2011. You're about to release a new album, The All.
Yes.
And you and I are from this age, but in an age now where it seems like you need to release an album right after you've released an album.
Yeah.
Even before you've released this album. How has SmifNWessun not succumbed to that pressure of having to feel like they constantly have to release music?
Well, it's difficult to compete with that because sometimes you want to do that, but it's not realistic. Like for me, I respect it too much. You know, I think you know, you have to give people the time to digest what it is. And if you're microwaving music, then of course it's not going to be as quality as something that you can play from a 95, you know. Right. So it's like considering, you know, being considerate to the fans. That's one. Kind of being realistic about I guess, about your story, whatever you're going to tell. Like, we have, on this new album, our last album came on, and if you could call Born and Raised, which is a reggae project.
Right.
I call it an album.
Right.
That released in 2012. Right? 2012. I think it's 2012, 2013. I think it's 2012. Monumental was 2011.
Right.
So then next year, 2012. So here we are, right? 2017, 2018. Which for me, you know, I'm like an esoteric guy and numbers guy and stuff like that. So it's like 7 years later, our album coming out is slated to drop in January. On 1/11, something like that. 1/11/19, some cool number like that. And this is 7 years later, from our last album, and this is our 7th album.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I'm playing those numbers. I don't know if you got this much a gambling type of spirit, but I think I'm gonna have to play those numbers. But I think like the esoteric version for me, and not even esoteric, but the reality is that the 7th is 7. G is the 7th letter made. That's the God in the supreme mathematics, you know. And for us, this is a big shot for us because like the title of the album is called The All.
Right.
You know, if God's you know, it's for the gods and earths, peace to the gods and earths, and you know, the nation. You understand what that means. Everybody should know what the all means.
Right,
the
right.
all. You don't have to really be a religious person to know what that is. So, in the wordplay of it, it's us taking the responsibility. Like this could possibly be it. Like, what would you say to the people? You know, would you preach to them? Would you tell them some old stuff that you ain't get a chance to tell them before? Would you tell them some stuff you saw when you crossed the desert? Or would you have fun with them when you had one last party with them? So all of these different things cross your mind. It's like, all right, I'm gonna try to do all of that without being pigeonholed into, you know, whatever I give you now, I want you to cherish that for years to come. So I'm not giving you it's not going to be another SmifNWessun album right after that. You know, you might get a solo Tech or a solo Steele, and that's only because we consistently record music. You know, I personally have like 2 or 3 solo projects that I just be making stuff. You know, I got a studio in my house, and every time I feel a vibe, I create. And I'm glad you asked that other question about the solo and the Tech and Steele because I like to be in the room with Tech or somewhere close and know what we're doing. I don't want to mix up, you know, just think these just arbitrary rhymes and say, hey, you know, unless I love it. Right. Unless I love it. So I'm kind of anal with that. I want to separate and compartmentalize certain flows and certain input and things like that, but it's difficult, man, and it gets real tricky. But I love it. I love the challenge. I accept it. I watch how these other cats rhyming nowadays, how they apply themselves, and how they mix and match words. I think it's awesome. Right. You know. So,
you're just talking about the meaning of the all. How does the for the all example, for the album example, how does the creation begin? Like, I mean, what's the drawing board between you and Tech? Are you guys, you know, just this comes to you one day? Are you guys sitting down writing like a plan, or just kind of
all of the above, man? All of the above. Like we went down south. It's like the Shinin. We had to spend every day together. Every day. We sleep in your room. We not sleeping, you know, together, but you sleep in your room, which means you got that space.
Right.
You know, you talk to family or watch this baseball game, basketball, whatever. But then we're spending the whole day together. We're eating together. We're listening to beats together. You know, I might take a break and go smoke me a Marlboro or something like that. something like that. But you know, and then we just get back to it. So we literally did have a board though. We had a board. We set it up in the studio, and Tech was a little annoying at times because he's like, "Yo, we need a title." So we just start thinking of titles. And he was like, we need a title for the project. And I'm like, it's way too early. I'm drawing a super blank right now. I don't know which direction to go. I think we need to record a few songs and feel it out. Mm-hmm. So it's like when you come in fresh, and I'm talking about we coming in the studio like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Jeez, wow.
And we're not leaving until we ready to pass out. And it's days where we record like one song, it's days where we record like 2 or 3. And we had initially we had a week. And in the first week that we went down there, we recorded songs every single day. And when we left, we had 11 songs recorded. And that was extremely exciting. Mm-hmm. You know, but we was like, yo, we're gonna have to come back. We still need a couple more. There's a couple more things we need, you know. So we went back for another week, you know. So it's like in 2 weeks we created this. So everything that we put together had to be perfect, you know. And working with the Jedi, right. Ninth, he's an evil genius, man. He's a beautiful guy. He's a beautiful, creative guy, and I like how he works with his team, with the Soul Council, because it's no competition. He doesn't have to step on their toes. They're equally talented as him, and whoever has the food, that's what we're gonna serve up, and we just had to, you know, step up to the plate, and when it worked, man, you know.
How did that collaborate? I mean, how did the Ninth Wonder, SmifNWessun collaboration actually? We
always think of how we could step it up. Mm-hmm. What we wasn't gonna do. I mean, we toyed around a lot of different things. We toyed around with Beat Minus project. We toyed around with Monumental Part 2. Yes. But of course, Beat Minus is super busy with the Blackmoons stuff. And you know, we toyed around with Ninth Wonder. One day, Drew Ha revisited that idea, and he said, yo, you guys willing to go down south for a week and see what you can come up with? And I'm like, hell yeah. Was that a trick question? When do we leave? You leave Friday. Oh, this Friday. It was like Wednesday. I'm like, what? Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, sure, let's do it. What do we got to lose, you know? Right. And yeah, man, it was rocky at first. It was rocky because it's like, again, I honestly, the human side of me, I was a little fearful. You know, I was a little intimidated because I didn't know what we were gonna do. You know, I didn't know where it was gonna start, what a conversation. Secretly, Ninth Wonder is not only a producer, composer, you should say, composer. He's also he's involved with the project. It was times where he gave us lyrical instruction. I'm like, don't feel any way about, you know, if you feel a vibe, then come in. And it's a couple of songs that he came and he's like, yo, I hear y'all going like this. And he would just do some mumble stuff like that. And I'm like, that's the flow you hear? Cool. Let me see if I can put some words to that. And you know, it was like everybody was hands on. There's nobody in each other's way, anything like that. But it was like, yo, I hear something. And you know, and we all was working together and close knit like that, man. It was beautiful.
Let It Go is the first track off the album. It's the first track everyone has heard. Can you just talk a little bit about that track? Was it the first song written by you guys? And since it is the first track release, how did you want it to kind of represent the album?
That I think that might have been like maybe like the second or third. The first two we're probably never gonna hear. They wasn't bad, but they just wasn't as good as like when you hear that first one, and you go, all right, them other two is just still around the corner somewhere. It makes sense. That song was created on one of those fresh mornings. You know, you get your rest and you kind of wrap your head around. You get up in the morning, you feeling fresh. You had your continental breakfast, or what we was doing was going to the Flying Biscuit commercial. To us, it was great because it's like just some cool place to go in the morning to have breakfast. So the eagerness is there. And I, Tech is the doctor. He's like, yo, what we working on today? What beats we got? What we doing? So I'm more like the magician. I'm like, yo, I think we should work on this one. All right, what we talking about? What's the concept? What's the thing? I said, yo, no concept. No concept. We're not doing that. We're not thinking about no concept. We just gonna let it go. We're just gonna rhyme on some hardcore stuff on this one right here. Or write your 16, I write my 16. Or it just cut me in where you see me to help you out on certain lines. Mm-hmm. Cut me in on there. But we're not gonna even be in each other's space like that. We'll just go over there. Just go sit over here and write. I'm gonna go over here. And I think I went outside. It was beautiful outside. They got, they right across from some type of train yard, mm-hmm. And the train would pass. So I got my headphones and the train yard, and the smoke from the pipes is coming. So I'm mixing and matching the vibes, and whatever came to mind is what came to mind. And when these guys was ready, I was trying to hype myself up, and I just said, "Woo, there you go." And they're like, yo, all right. And that wound up staying. Nice. Like, I had a chorus that's in the chorus, but then we just put it together. And that's like Crisis going, nah, that can go there. And like on the dime. And we're building the song as we're doing it. We're building it, So it's nothing that we came and said, yo, we're going to do this song called Let It Go. And then we're going to say, woo, at this part. It's like, that happened. And then this happened. And then the rhymes was like, boom. And this part's like, the good thing about having a partner sometimes, like, it's stuff that, like, we're super old school. Like, we come from the school where you don't punch in. Ninth Wonder was like, yo, man, you can't be doing that. Don't punch and stuff. Like, people don't do that no more. He like, how you think these guys be sounding so perfect? You think they just say it like that? Like, we just so stubborn when it comes to that. But they're having a partner is great sometimes because I be saying so many words, and then I can't say that next line. I'm gonna go. Yeah, right. So when I go, he hit that line for me, and then I can come right back. Boom, he's my breath. You know what I mean? So it's like the combination is now it's getting exciting. So after one or two of those, after we did that one, I think it was either before or after. It might have been before. Rockness Monster came through. He just happened to be down south. This was his last day. So he was like, yo, let's get him on the track. Because whatever he rhyme about, he going to get us hype. And then we could get on that. So we did like these two hardcore tracks. Unfortunately, the Rockness Monster track didn't make the cut.
Wow. Really?
It was pretty dope, though. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it'll pop out sometime. Right. But it kicked it off for us, It started getting the ball rolling, and the excitement was in there. And then after the excitement, you start going, we need to make some serious joints, some serious stories about stuff. So Tech was coming up with some titles and ideas, and I would come up with choruses and concepts like, yo, we're gonna do this one. This one is a letter. This one gonna be letter to the loved ones, to everybody. The first one to your moms, the first one to your son, and the next one to you. And then we'll just get to it. Like, it just happened. It had to happen. That time that was allotted to us, that's all we had to work with, and we just busted out.
You bring up a point about features. When you guys go into this album, do you go in thinking you're gonna have features on it, or do you? Or
me personally, no. Tech loves features. he loves features, man. I know. Like, artists like to have a bunch of features, but I'm not really into that. Like, I think that the album should be yours. If you have a couple of people on there, it's a courtesy or something that makes sense. Yeah. Every album, every song, a feature. I think that's kind of like that's cheating. That's laziness almost. And sometimes those songs don't even work. It's like this guy and that guy together in a song. Wow. It doesn't really. And then sometimes it sounds amazing, right, Yeah. But that's the point of creating. To each his own on that spectrum. We did make a list of people that we wanted to reach out to. Some we reached out to, and it just didn't work out because of time schedules and stuff. And then others we just didn't get around to reaching out, you know. And I'm kind of glad because it worked out how it should have worked out. We have very limited features on there. The only thing I regret is that we don't have any boot camp members on there. Mm. You know, the one rock song we did was cool. Like we had a song that we wanted to get Buck on, and again, his time working on the album was crazy.
Right.
So, you know, once we chiseled it down, man, we got like a handful of guys. It's only like about 11, 12 songs, somewhere around there. And the people that we have featured on there, it makes sense, you know.
You talked about a song with a letter to your mom, letter to your son, and there's a question I want to ask you about. I feel like we lose someone in hip hop, we lose an artist, and then we praise them. So I don't know if this is going to sound like a morbid question, but kind of the idea is like give their roses while they're still here.
Right.
So I was looking at who you have collaborated with, who both of you guys have collaborated with, and names that stand out for me are like Raekwon, Buckshot, P-Rock, Premier, Bun B, Eagle D. Can you briefly just talk about them and how their importance to you as an artist, but their importance to you in this culture?
All of them guys, man. But we say they family, man. Especially Buck. Mm-hmm. Buck, that's my twin. That's my little bro right there. We go way back, literally standing on the moon, breaking day, to the next morning. We all we had to do was go upstairs, you know, but we would stay outside and build all day, all night, on life, on a lot of different things. Raekwon, our brother from Shinin, he's just one of those, like, he's a chef. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's a wordsmith, and we actually we spent some time with him. We went out on a tour with him and Redman, and we built we was already cool, but that string of dates that we went out with him, we actually rode in the tour bus with him and his crew, which you either gonna hate each other or you're gonna get real close.
Right, yeah.
And we got real close, man. Pete Rock, we go way back. Pete Rock, it's like these guys, we've been to their house before, you know, we met their family. So it's a different affinity when you're working with these cats. And, right. And the respect level that we have for them is off the Richter. So secretly, Raekwon is one of the features that we have on this new album.
It's not a bad feature.
No, it's not a bad feature at all. And the song that we have him on, like, we try to reach out to other members, but again, with the time restraints, you got to respect artists and what they have to do. But we try to blow that out the water and make it something extra special. But the way it came out, I think people appreciate it and they understand why these particular songs were made. Like, the song that we have him on is called Dreamland, and we talk about things that happened in the past. And instead of, like, not to be morbid, right? But we talk about losing people, but not in the realm of being sad about it. Like, you know, my first line is, I really miss Grandma. She made the best cakes. Uncle God schooled me on rap. He had the fresh taste. First date broke my heart. I was just 8. You know what I mean? Young God told me from start, never trust snakes. So it's like, you remembering the past and the bad things, but you giving, I guess, praise and a credit due, and using that memory and that experience as a strength to move on. So when you hear, that's right up Raekwon alley. You know what I mean? That's Raekwon and Ghost all day. So it's like, yo, Ray, what's good? Let's get this. Right? Like, yeah, no doubt. Let's go. But then one of the other special features was right inside the camp, right inside Soul Council camp, was Rhapsody.
Oh, nice.
And Heather Victoria is a vocalist, and another young lady by the name of Smitty. That's what she go by. That's what we calling her. Like, these are all like regular down to earth people, but when you hear them do what they do, it's so phenomenal.
Right.
You know, so Other than that, you gotta listen to the album and see who the other cats is. It's not that many though. It's not that. It's not two more features on there. But
This is my last question. We've already established you've been doing this for a good amount of time. You're about to reach the 7th album.
yes, the God.
Couple of solo. Is there maybe a verse or a lyric that you've written? And it doesn't have to be anything necessarily that we've heard. I mean, it could be something that could be one of these tracks that you like and then kind of threw to the side that you just kind of say, holy shit, I'm talented.
I was, you know what? I don't normally do this, but like I have, I'm very anal with my writing, and I have these key things that I do not respect. Like I cannot say the same word a lot of times,
right?
Unless if that's the cadence in that particular thing, but then I got to shift it right behind. So a lot of times I don't even go back and study my rhymes. But the other day, right, I went to some of the lyrics that I have wrote for features, and then I'm like, wow, I really gave this. Did I give this to this guy? Yo, what happened? And I went through a few songs, and then I'm like, wow, not bad. Then I realized I often. It's a little bit of spirituality in there, some hardcore, it might be some ass kicking in there somewhere, and it's like my cadence is pretty solid, so I can't run from who I am or what I do, and it made me realize then, yeah, this guy's is not bad. this guy's okay, man, and I appreciate that because I don't like some people might think some people I've heard people be like. I'm so nasty, or I'm gonna change the game, like I'm the best, and I'm like, okay, I hope so,
right?
And I've heard people who probably could be put into that category, but then I've heard people that was better than them,
right?
So I never professed to have conquered my greatest lyric, and I'm always seeking to like outdo whatever I've done so far, but I think it's some good stuff on the shelf in the SmifNWessun catalog,
The new album, The All. Release date?
The release date, right now, the release date is 1/11, 2019. Hard copies and vinyl.
Nice.
That was the only, listen, we was pushing for 2018, but the system, the processing system, you got to respect that.
Right.
And we got a couple of good things going on prior to that, which would, give the people a nice little warm up. And yes, we're going to start the year off fresh.
Nice.
Let It Go video should be released this month, in the month of October. SmifNWessun will be on a European tour in November, God willing. We'll be going to December. And when we come back in December, we probably will drop another video from the album for you in December. And then the album is going to be, explosive. The All SmifNWessun, Ninth Wonder in the Soul Council. Special treat for the people then.
Steele, once again, honored to have you on
Thank you,
the library.
Thank
half of SmifNWessun. Thank you so much, man.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for doing this again.
You always have the great questions.
Want to make Mom's day? Get to your Nordstrom Rack now and score amazing deals for Mother's Day, which is Sunday, May 12th. Find tons of gifts from only $30 at Nordstrom Rack. Fragrance, jewelry, luxury bags, activewear, beauty, and more. Save on Kate Spade New York, Stuart Weitzman, and Ted Baker London. Great brands, great prices. So shop your Nordstrom Rack store today and treat Mom to the good stuff from just $30.
Meet the next generation of podcast stars with SiriusXM's Listen Next program, presented by State Farm. As part of their mission to help voices be heard, State Farm teamed up with SiriusXM to uplift diverse and emerging creators. Tune in to Stars and Stars with Issa, as host Issa Nakazawa dives into birth charts of her celeb guests. This is just the start of a new wave of podcasting. Visit statefarm.com to find out how we can help prepare for your future. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.